Jolene. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm really excited for our conversation today.
Thank you, Dallas. I am so excited to be here.
So, I know you're in the Six Figure Coach Club. We were just catching up a little bit, and it's been about 3 months, give or take. So, how's it been going for you so far?
I have to say, it has been amazing and so relieving. I really wasn't sure where I was supposed to be going next with my business. And just as far as because I felt like I had a complete kind of business, I had a
Mhm.
course, I had all the stuff. So, what type of coach do I need next? I know I needed some guidance, but I needed someone to literally poke holes throughout my entire, let's look at my logo, let's look at my speech, look at my course, all these things. And how do you find someone that does that that doesn't cost $1 million,
Mhm.
And so I was worried about a course. I was worried about just a one-on-one. And this was a nice combination that literally gave me so much to do to go back through and say, okay, that's something that's a bigger undertaking. I'm going to do it later, but here's a little something I can tweak with my language. And here's a little something I can tweak with my course. And it just has been amazing. I've received so much more, private messages from my clients, ideal clients saying, I feel like you're speaking to me. And it's literally the smallest tweak of my language. It's
Yeah.
almost insulting, but it's been amazing. It's been awesome.
I'm so glad. I'm
Yeah.
so happy to hear that. So, why don't you share with us what you want to walk away with from our time together today?
Okay. So, what I want to walk away with every time I talk to you changes from almost minute to minute. So, I feel like I'm in the middle of this revolution with my revamping of my course.
Hmm.
So, I want a little more direction. And I know that's kind of a vague
Hmm.
statement, but I want to make sure that what I'm doing is on the right track, that I'm not chasing shiny objects that I don't need to be chasing right now. And that I'm on course. I've got, my timeline mapped out that you've given in the Six Figure Coach Club. I feel real secure on the timeline. But as I'm digging into all this, I'm finding all these little details that could be fixed and
Yeah.
perfected. And maybe they should be put off. Maybe they should be done before the course. Maybe they don't need to be done. And I'm just getting weird with details.
Yeah. It's interesting because I find sometimes it's easier to launch a course from the ground up instead of fixing a course that already exists.
Yeah.
It's sort of like painting on a blank canvas versus taking an old painting and trying to improve it somehow because you just don't quite know what to focus on when. So I hear you. I get it. So
Yes.
we're going to focus on the course, the launch that you have coming up and prioritizing, identifying potential improvements or changes, prioritizing them so that you're set up to be as successful as possible with as little time and effort because time is your most valuable and scarce resource right now. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. So before we dive into that, I'd love, this is a two-parter. Tell everybody a little bit more about your business, in particular your audience, and then tell us what you think we need to know about the current structure of your course or the plan to launch, so then we can go in and
Okay.
improve where we need to.
Okay, so I help prospective law students save time, money, and stress on their legal journey so that they can be financially free and live the life they always dreamed as an attorney. So many of us are just drowning in debt. So
Yeah.
we get stuck in high billable jobs, areas of law we don't want to do. So I try to save them. And the course helps me do that more than just one person at a time.
Yeah.
So with the course, as far as the revamping, I feel like I'm on a good track. I'm re-recording, I'm adding some new tips and strategies. That part's all good. And it's mostly done actually. So that's great. I've got a little under 2 months before what I have announced as my launch date.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of my offerings, I'm getting a little, is that enough? You know what I mean? Like, so I am 10xing the pricing
Yeah.
and I feel confident in my pricing as far as what I think this is worth.
Yeah.
I am less confident in will they pay it? But I don't have any problem saying the price. That is not my problem. It's just more, am I almost shooting myself in the foot? But I feel like eventually at some point the right people will come. So it's just a matter of how do I get that?
Yeah.
So the language, the attraction language to make sure they understand the value is, I think, one of my biggest problems.
Yep. Great. So here's what I'm understanding from you. You have a course that delivers on this promise of helping law students move through law, like graduate without a bunch of debt so they don't feel stuck taking a job in the law that is not the job that they want.
Exactly.
Okay. And I want to fill everybody in a little bit because it was not our most recent Q&A call, but the call before that, where I think it was within the last month, right?
Yeah.
Where we had a big conversation around your industry and your pricing and essentially 10xing the messaging
Yeah.
to attract a different kind of client. Can you fill everyone in on that? Because I think it's important, because what we want to do now is look at how we need to 10x your message in order to match the 10x of your price.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my personal message before was I was trying to price it in a way where it's like, look, this is worth so many Starbucks drinks or a night out on the town and that kind of thing. So that way it was almost like a no-brainer price. Like if you use just one of my tips, you're going to get back 10 times the price, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And what I noticed in the industry is that a lot of people offer very low priced items. A lot of people in my industry are law students themselves, so they just need a few bucks. So they're selling like really amazing guides for, $10 or something like that, or giving it away for free. And so here I am trying to maybe sell a little something and it's like, okay, I've got this thing over here for free. So that's a problem in my general industry. And then I've even seen attorneys selling really big things for, like $100. And I was just like, okay, this is crazy. So when I'm trying to 10x and I'm trying to come up into, a 4-figure number, it's definitely worth it. They're using one tip will get them that money back, but convincing them to invest, to understand that this is worth that price, that this is just as important as signing up for that LSAT course so they can get a good test score to get into a good school, and that is part of my messaging. I tell them, get a good LSAT score so you can get into your top school, and then don't worry that they're not offering you scholarship money. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to help you cover that.
Yeah.
So instead of choosing between the best ranked school and the one offering you money, you don't have to make that choice anymore. You can have both.
Got it. Okay. So just to loop everyone in, because this to me was a breakthrough conversation. I hope it was for you too, because I left really excited. But basically, for our listeners, what I pointed out to Jolene was it often doesn't work to price according to what the market dictates, because now we're just a part of the noise. So now it's your $100 program versus Joe Schmo's $100 program, and how can I tell that anything is different? And now you're all marketing to scarcity-minded broke people, and everyone is ignoring those law students or potential law students who value prestige and who actually have the resources and want to invest at a higher level. So what we decided to do was we're not going to jump in the red ocean where everyone is charging $10 this and $47 that. You're going to really lean into premium pricing and to attract the premium buyer.
Exactly. I was going to say, I couldn't remember the word you used, but it was basically, the message was, don't worry about those horrible priced people. Just you have a high value thing, charge the high value. That absolutely makes sense.
Yeah. And this isn't always aligned for let me say it this way. This is not a hard and fast rule, right? We have to have pricing that we believe in, and we have to have pricing that we feel is aligned with our values, right? So if equity or accessibility is a priority, there are like other roads in, but to make the decision from a place of, it's sort of like from a place that you just described, those law students. Okay, I'm stuck here. I'm now forced to choose the school that's giving me a scholarship instead of the school I want. It's almost, I'm forced to price my program what the industry dictates instead of what I want. So congratulations on making that brave step. And now we need to adjust the messaging to match this prestige loving, resourceful law student.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing I heard was you feel really confident about the course, about the structure of the course, about the delivery. You're just tying up loose ends there. So, where do you want my help today around the launch or the marketing?
Okay. So, yes, the first, uh, gosh, yeah, I think the first thing is to really help them understand the pricing, because I do think that sure, there'll be some that just literally turn away the first second they see it.
Mm-hmm.
But those who send me all these DMs saying, we really appreciate you. You're really speaking to me. I've been following you for months and I think like you give me so much great advice. I consider you a personal mentor. I mean, these are the messages I'm getting. How do I get those people to really pay attention, like wake up and say, okay, maybe she's worth this price. Maybe I should invest, even if they weren't going to spend even $100 on something like this. What would wake them up to, I've been following Jolene, she has valuable information. Maybe that $1,000 really is going to be a great return on investment.
Great. So, number one, it's funny, in my notes, I wrote down price objection and then I crossed out objection because as soon as we relate to this conversation as an objection, it's as though you are standing on the opposite side of a negotiating table from your dream client. And what you want to do is get up out of your chair, walk around the table, and sit next to them to help them make a decision from a space of resourcefulness. All right? So this is not about overcoming a price objection. This is about helping clients believe in themselves enough to invest in themselves. So you said something like, how can I help them? How can I help them see that I'm worth it? They're worth it. That's the shift we want to make.
Okay.
So this is a technical question, but are you also offering a payment plan?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's an easy way to overcome that price obstacle, that price barrier is offering a payment plan. But the second piece is to remember we invest from an emotional place. So rather than trying to justify the price logically, we need to keep our dream clients in that emotional state and help them make a decision that they believe in.
Okay.
So let's set pricing aside for a second because it often manifests as the air quotes here objection when in fact it's an easy excuse, not the real objection.
Right.
So outside of pricing, what are other reasons you have heard before from dream clients about why they're not ready, willing, or able to invest in programs with you?
What I've heard is that they really believe that all they need is that LSAT score. That's it. Done. And that's what the industry has told them. So they are afraid to be different.
Yeah.
They're not going to reach that success level because, they're not going to be different. They want to become a sheep and follow the path they've been fed since, early college or whenever they started researching law school.
Okay. How are you addressing this myth in your free content leading up to your launch, but also inside of your launch?
Yeah. So the first time I really had a lot of responses was when I did this direct post. It was literally, I told them what the perceived problem was. I can't get my LSAT score high enough.
Mm-hmm.
Perceived solution, I must just double down on my LSAT. And then I said, the actual solution is my course. And I got all these DMs just saying, oh my gosh, that's exactly the problem I'm having. And, and it was literally instead of trying to figure out how to address solution awareness and stuff like that, it was literally telling them, I know what your problem is, but it's actually the wrong problem and you've got the wrong solution. And so therefore you need to open up, but then they didn't go anywhere. So that's where it's that final step where they are just like, I get it. You're telling me I need something else to bolster what I've already got going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just stop. And so part of that obviously is me. I'm not maybe following up correctly. Maybe I need a second, whether it's a DM or just a second post that kind of pushes them over the edge. So I'm not really sure where to go with that.
Great. Okay, so we're going to talk about closing strategies. I hate that term. It just sounds so gross, but we're going to go with it today. So 2 terms, price objection, I don't like and we're using it, and closing strategies, good. So what else? What other than this belief, I need an LSAT score, right? And I need to double
Yeah.
down on that. What other obstacles have prevented them from investing in themselves through your program?
Gosh, that's the one I hear consistently. I'm trying to think.
Is there any
Yeah.
sort of, something I see a lot with my audience is this guilt or fear around, I already owned 3 courses that I didn't finish. So how can I even justify investing in something else? I should just go back and finish what I started. So that there's that like lack of trust in themselves to actually follow through on the investment. Is there
Yeah,
any of that
they
for
haven't
your
expressed.
people?
I haven't heard that, but I think that follows through with the LSAT. If I can't even get the LSAT score to where I want it, I just need to double down. Okay, I took a course, maybe I need to hire a tutor, that kind of thing. So it's, like I said, it's tunnel vision.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. So back to the 10xing the messaging.
Mhm.
My first piece of feedback around this, I want you to get really clear about the one person who's ever going to take your course. They are, okay? So who is this one student? What do they value? What pain are they in? And it's almost in your languaging, whether that's on the sales page or in the webinar, all of the pieces. It's almost like a wink and a nod, right? To say things like, you and I both know that a $10 PDF is not going to help you get the law job that you really want, right? You're ready to invest your heart, mind, and soul into doing this right, instead of fooling yourself into thinking that it's just about getting a better LSAT score. Right? So really having this direct conversation with your dream client who's completely at a shared belief with you and who values investing at a higher level. They value prestige.
Yeah.
They value being different. That they value, what's the opposite of being a sheep? If you're not a sheep, you're
Like a leader.
yeah, they value being a leader or making their own decisions.
Yes. And
Okay?
that actually speaks well, it should speak well to them because they are going to law school to learn how to analyze, to learn how to be a leader. And like I said, then they just kind of cave into this tunnel vision and become sheep. And it's a little disappointing to see, but I probably can incorporate that into my language better.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder too, and again, you know your audience way better than I do, but the LSAT is something that's very concrete, and therefore it feels like something I have more control over. Where so many other of these elements, I don't have control, right? But
Yeah.
what your course reveals to me is that I do have more control than I think.
Yeah.
So that's what you want to lean into.
Okay.
Right? So
Mhm.
I'm even just picturing some of your language, right? Like you might be thinking that like this is too big of an investment to like leap into the unknown. Don't you just need to get a good LSAT and get into school and then follow the rules once you're there? There's so much, you have more control than you think. So leaning into how they want to feel during their law school experience and connecting that back to the investment.
Okay.
So what would that look like if you put that into practice? What would that look like in your messaging?
Oh my gosh. The pressure. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I feel like I'm a horrible copy editor, or copy person. Like I feel like I have to write and rewrite.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. So okay,
I can help here too.
okay.
That was a pretty big question.
Yes.
So you did such a good job of following the content frameworks with that post that got a lot of response. So just for our listeners, inside the Six Figure Coach Club, there are these 4 different content frameworks that are just designed to get your creative wheels turning to put content out in the world. And one of them is about being the contrarian, right? Here's the pain that you're in. Here's what you think the solution is. Here's what the real solution is. And here's what happens when you follow the real solution.
Yeah.
So let's do a couple more of those.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So we could do it, yeah, along with the LSAT. You could say, you think that, you should be working towards your perfect LSAT. You know, working towards your perfect LSAT is a great goal. However, that is not going to be enough, or in 90% of the cases or whatever,
Yeah.
it's not going to be enough to get you all that you actually want. To get what you actually want, you should be looking outside the box or thinking outside the box. And then how can you do that? My course, that kind of thing.
And being more clear than just saying my course,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you have the things you teach, are they named? Like, do you have a system?
They aren't. And that, I think that's part of my problem, is a lot of what is in my course is not just tips. It's not like, hey, go here, you get $50, It's,
Mhm.
I mean, those are nice little tips and you can kind of give examples, and that's the quick wins, right? A lot of what I teach are strategies. So, for example, if you go somewhere abroad, here's what this will change, and then it will change this other thing and this other thing. And so you don't realize how profound this could be. But if you did this, then it changes four other things. And then you can apply it four different ways, and you could save a semester of school. You could save, $20,000, and it ends up saving all this time, money, and then again, stress. And that's just, like one example, right? There's other things
Right.
less severe than summer abroad,
Okay.
but
Yeah. So I want to, and I hesitate because I don't want to give you extra work, but this is going to make your ability to sell so much more seamless if you name your systems,
okay.
every one of them. So, for example, that one could be called the Save a Semester Domino Effect. Here's how to use summer abroad in order to save yourself a semester of tuition. And now it just sounds like $1,000 program.
It does. See, and that's
Right?
the problem I've been having, is I can't even share. I mean, I have a few quick tips, but I can't really share a quick tip with people to give them an example, because it's everything is a story. And
Yep.
so, I mean, sure, I can share a story, but they're, starting to tune out, or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once they have skin in the game, then okay, they're going to listen to the story.
Mhm.
But yeah, it gets difficult to I can't just pop on and say, here's my quick tip.
But okay, so what I want you to here's an invitation to change your mindset around this,
Okay.
because people don't quick tips are dangerous. Because, oh, I'm going to go put into action that thing that Jolene said, and I'm going to not do it right, because how can I really know how to do it right with a quick tip? And now I feel like a failure, or I feel like you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So instead of these quick tips, leaning into the pain that they're in and showing them a different way. So, what that might look like, and it's a little bit of storytelling, right?
Mhm.
But all right, it's time to pay for a new school year or a new semester. And you're thinking, and you think, okay, how am I going to take out another loan, or how am I going to find another job in order to come up with this extra money? Did you know there is a system? I call it Save a Semester Domino Effect. That simply by reshaping how you think about summers abroad, that will affect X, it will affect Y, it will affect Z, which then gives you more than a semester's worth of money in your pocket. You don't have to tell them how they're doing it. You just wake them up to a new solution. Do you see the difference?
Yeah. Wow.
And by naming it, it's automatically more valuable. So
Yeah.
that's my first invitation for you, is go through with all of these strategies. You can give them a name,
Yeah.
right?
That's easy. It's going to be some work, but it's easy. That's
Yeah.
something tangible I can do.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now what I'm going to walk away with from this program is not a course, but these, I'm making up a number here, right? But these 7 concrete, repeatable strategies that are designed to save me X amount of dollars.
Yeah. Okay.
And now we've just justified the price of your program in a more concrete way.
It does sound like the price, because that is exactly, I've been focusing on. Okay, you can save, $300,000. I actually had an exact number. I put a price on every single one, and every single strategy, and then said that you could save over $300,000, whatever, in this course. But it's such a vague number when I'm
Yeah.
not giving them these like nice titles to hold on to and say, okay, so this, summer abroad thingy and this other thing and this other thing. And wow, those alone sound like $300,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now because they're named, I automatically feel more capable of implementing them. So we're turning the nebulous really concrete.
Okay. Yeah. Cause right now it's just called like summer abroad, or something like that.
Right? So they're all going to have they're all going to be systems, right? Or processes or frameworks. And they're absolutely related to their result, not the process. So I called it save a semester domino effect. Summer abroad isn't even in there. They don't care how, right? They just care about the result.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're 10xing your messaging here. Step number 1, we're going to name each of the systems you teach inside of the program. And then you can follow the content frameworks, right? Here's the pain that you're in. Here's what you think the solution is. There's a better solution. It's called the save a semester domino effect. Let me highlight it for you. Here's the result of that.
Okay.
DM me if you want an invitation to my course.
Nice. Okay.
Okay. Same thing with the LSAT score. So now what we're doing is crafting specific messaging around each piece of your program to make it more concrete and to solidify the value.
Okay.
So whatever you come up with for the names, this shows up in the free content you're putting out. It shows up on your sales page. We have to make it really concrete. Otherwise, people are left to just price shop.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's track back a little bit more. I said earlier that the obstacle to overcome around pricing is helping them see that they are worth the investment and they can trust themselves with that investment.
Yeah.
So let's use the DM conversations that you've had in the past to practice this a little bit. All right, so you did a post, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did a post where you said you think it's about the LSAT score, so you double down on the LSAT, and it has nothing to do with the LSAT, it's actually this instead. And you heard back, right? Wow, this is exactly what I'm struggling with. And then what happened in the DMs?
Okay. So then I would say, so they would say, you're speaking my language or whatever. And I say, I appreciate you, whatever. And I would say, thanks so much. I appreciate your message. Where are you in your legal journey? And so then they would tell me, where they're at in their phase. And then I would just ask them more questions about, whatever they've said. And I would do that maybe 2 or 3 times to try to just make sure we're having a nice casual conversation. And then I would generally invite them to my Facebook group somewhere in there as well. And just say, hey, because a lot of times I'm getting this on LinkedIn or Instagram, more LinkedIn though. But I'll tell them, the LinkedIn algorithm it's hard to sometimes see everyone's posts. So if you want more free content that you can actually see, more regularly, you're welcome to join my Facebook group. And so then I'll get some people joining from there. And if I leave it there, if that doesn't seem to be going anywhere, then there's a lead magnet offer when they join the Facebook group. But if it looks like they might be interested in more, then I ask them do you want to hop on a call and we can chat further and see, where you're at and how I can help you further. But usually that's where they bow out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little frustrating because again, they're super responsive. They're so eager to get this free help. But then when there's more of a commitment, oh, she wants to talk to me, they get scared.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because if you want to talk to me, you're going to try to trick me into buying your thing. And I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
Right. So I want you to practice taking the word free out of all of your vernacular.
Okay.
Right. If you want more free content, come to my Facebook group. No, if you want to make sure that you graduate debt free, come to my Facebook group.
Okay.
So we're always speaking about the result that they want, right? Rather than the thing we think will make it easy for them to take the next step.
Got it.
Because it's a different kind of person who wants more free information versus, yes, I'm committed to graduating law school debt free.
Yeah.
Okay. So just play the game. Actually, inside of our company, we're really working hard to eliminate the word guys from our vernacular. And boy, as soon as you make that commitment, you notice how often you say Everybody say, guys, just dropping left and right, right?
It's 24/7. Yes.
Yeah, but we're really committed to that. And so I just made the intention to notice first. And then I intentionally, I say you all or everybody more often than I would ever say, guys. I intentionally practice saying something else, and we're really noticing a difference, and I'm catching myself earlier and earlier. So the same would be true with the word free.
Okay.
Set the intention, and then just notice how often you're speaking to the people who are not your customers, and therefore leaving out the people who are, because they want to pay for things.
Yeah. Okay.
And then make sure, we want to invite people who crave the result that we promise, not the easy next step. Okay.
That makes sense.
So I'm in the DMs with you, and I'm telling you everything, and you're singing my song, and then you say, "I'd love to hop on a call with you to see if I can help you more," and then you never hear from me again.
Yes.
So I would recommend inserting another step there and reminding them that you are in a shared belief earlier on. So instead of, let's have this casual conversation, I want to build trust, be a little more direct, right? Like, I'm curious, what do you think is the thing to get you into the school that you want? Is it the LSAT or is it something else? So identifying their beliefs that you can then flip around instead of just making this nice connection.
Okay. That sounds good. It has a more direct or more of a direction.
Yes. Yeah. And then, so I'm going to use the LSAT as the example here, right? So thank you for saying that. You're totally speaking my language. Where are you at in your journey, right? That would be an okay next question. And then like, I'm curious about where you're most stuck or what you're really afraid of.
With respect to, going to law school and
with law school. Yeah. And then we want to share one of these misbeliefs, misconceptions.
Okay.
Right? And then I actually teach a solution to that. We call it the XYZ. It sounds like my program could really help you. Would you like to find out more about the program? So instead of saying hop on a call, would you like to find out more about the program? Get a buy-in first.
Okay.
Right? And then they'll say yes. If they say no, I circle back. Be like, oh, I didn't mean to scare you off there with just call it like you see it. Right?
Okay.
Oh, you disappeared on me. I didn't mean to scare you off. Are you interested in graduating law school debt-free or whatever the promise is? Right? And then if they're gone, they're gone. Right? But a lot of times when you let people know, I see you walking away, it's an invitation for them to re-engage.
Okay.
Is this landing?
Yeah, I get it. Because it gives them a minute to, if they had that moment of fear, just calm down a moment, but let them know I'm still here for you.
Yep.
We can still communicate.
Yes.
It's okay that you walked away for a moment. You're welcome to come back.
Yeah. I'm a human. I'm not a sales robot.
Yeah.
So we can have a human connection.
Yeah.
And then with the selling piece, get a buy-in before asking to sell to them. So instead of just saying, would you like to hop on a call? Would you like to learn more about the program? Right? Yes, I'd love to. Well, my number one priority is X with all of my students. Right? What do you most want to, what questions do you have for me about how the course can help you with X? And now they're engaging you with questions, right? And then it's easier to say, it might be easiest for me to explain this to you on a call, or maybe send them a voice memo. Make it as personal as possible. And would you like to, how open are you to a call? Yes, I'm open. Great. Here's a link to schedule. So we just really slow that sales part of the conversation down so they don't feel, so the human connection remains.
Yeah. No, and I like that because it feels, I mean, I've definitely said that before where it's like, this is quite a bit to type. Do you mind, if we get on a call? And I've done that more with people I want to collaborate with. So I haven't really done that so much with, in that way with potential clients. So I can definitely do that. That's definitely in my wheelhouse to do.
Yeah, and sometimes I've just found being super transparent, right? So again, it's all about naming things. So it would be so much easier for me to explain this to you on a call. Don't worry, I'm not going to somehow trick you into buying something you don't want, but the course could help you, right? Would you like to find out about how? And then people trust you more because you're being honest instead of some sort of ninja sales move that you're going to trick them into into doing. Okay. So I want to just check in because we've covered a lot. I think the first so our goal was really how do we align the messaging with the new price point?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about naming every step of your process, and that immediately solidifies things.
Yes.
We talked about slowing down the DM conversation, narrating every step of the process, and being direct, right? Rather than feeling like you have to be a little bit passive so that they'll trust you. They will trust your directness.
Yeah.
What else do you want to touch on related to the messaging before we wrap up?
Let's see. I think sometimes don't I don't think my sales page is as great as it could be. And I don't know if I have too much on there or too little. When I go to other people's sales pages, I see a wide variety of the 20-page type sales page versus the 10-word type sales page.
Yeah.
And I get a little lost on, am I conveying enough? Am I conveying too much? How do I know my sales page is going to be adequate or conveying the right message?
Yeah. Sadly, we only know that post launch, right? So
Mhm.
there's your answer, but we have to look at the data to really know. But I can give you a few suggestions to help. Number one, it's always about knowing who your dream client is, but it's also about setting up the sales page for different types of decision makers. One type of decision maker, this is, I sometimes call them the thinker, right? This is the quick start person. This is me. Please, I don't want to scroll. Please, like, tell me when it starts, tell me how much it costs, tell me what I'm going to get out of it, and where is the buy now button. So for those people, what I recommend at the top of your sales page, you have the name of the program and the promise. And then you say, you'll walk away from this course with, and then bullet points of the tangible benefits of everything that you teach them.
Okay.
Right? Like a rock solid way to save a semester of tuition simply by going abroad. And that's the one thing you've told me about, so that's the thing.
Right.
So right at the top, name, promise of the course. Here are 5 to 9 bullet points of exactly what you're going to walk away with. It's very benefit laden. Buy now button.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have the people who are feelers. They need to trust you. They make buying decisions based on intuition or emotion. So they need to know that they need to feel seen. So the next portion of the program is painting the picture of the pain that they're in and really illustrating to them that there is a new solution and you relate to where they're at and you believe that something different is possible for them. So you've seen that before where it's something like, let me guess, right? Or Matt, picture this. It's midnight and you're tossing and turning because, right? So we've seen that. And then it transitions into, so for mine, you'd be like, hi, I'm Dallas Travers and I used to be in your shoes, right? Or every day I meet a new coach who says that exact thing to me and here's what I've learned. All right, that's for your feeler. Then we introduce the program. Here's the tricky part. Because it's easy to talk about the nuts and bolts of the course instead of keeping people in that feeling place. And therefore, we make the course seem like a lot of work. That's a mistake that I made with the 6-Figure Coach Club sales page because there are 8 courses inside of that program. So if I'm going to tell you every single thing, that's a 47-page sales page, and it sure seems like a hell of a lot of work. But our whole philosophy is one layer at a time, right? So it's actually so simple when you're in it. So with each of the steps, where I have landed, and you tell me if this is helpful. Pain, right? What pain are they in? Number 2, is, and I'm going to be more concrete. I'll use my course. So one of the pieces inside of the Six Figure Coach Club it's the first piece, right? It's the magic words, getting your messaging down. So I might say something like, imagine what it feels like to no longer dread being asked the question, what do you do? Right? Imagine, instead of hearing, isn't that nice? Hearing, I know someone who you can help. I want to connect you. That's what's possible when you practice the magic words, right? You'll leave this training feeling crystal clear about who you help, totally confident about how to communicate that in a way that lights people up instead of confuses them, and ready to bring in a ton of clients through word of mouth referrals. I didn't tell you a single step of the process, right? I just basically said, I relate to you because I know this is what you're struggling with. Imagine having this instead. That's where you're going to land at the end of this. So it's pretty short. Okay. That's the place where we can get a little too clunky and wordy because we feel like we have to tell them every single thing that they're going to get, and they don't care. They care about the result.
You feel like if you leave anything out, like they're going to feel like there's nothing in there. You know what I mean? So
yes,
you got to show them all the stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah. Okay. I'll be good.
Right. And then there are the followers, right? So we have the thinkers, the feelers, the followers. They want to see that it's worked for other people. So testimonials are crucial. I've gone back and forth, but the latest advice I've received from my ads team is to put testimonials all in one place instead of peppering them throughout, because the people who make decisions because of testimonials, right, want to see all of them, which makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right. So I typically put testimonials after the program description.
Okay.
And then I present any bonuses. The bonuses are help those impulse buyers, right? Or followers who just like, we're getting to the end of the page. I need to make a decision now. And then that heartfelt call to action at the end. So my feedback for you is go through every line of your sales page and ask yourself, am I keeping them in a feeling state, or have I moved them into analyzing? Even attorneys, right, who are trained to analyze, they do it really naturally. An investment like this is going to be made from either a very practical state of mind, and they're going to buy right at the top of the page, or from a feeling. So we need to keep them in a feeling state.
Right. The person who's like, I apply for every scholarship. This is the program that's going to help me in that kind of way. Or the one that's like, I need something. I'm desperate to give me something. So, okay.
Good. Is that helpful? I know it's like a crash course in sales pages, but.
No, that made a lot of sense because I've looked at so many, and and I've heard of some formattings, but for some reason that just sounded so much clearer to me. And so I can go back into the Six Figure Coach Club. I know you have a description in there, but it'll be fresher from this conversation and just in my mind a little clearer.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I just changed all my testimonials to be in one spot. So that's done.
Great. Okay. So do you feel like we have at least begun the process of 10xing your messaging?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. So I'd love to hear from you what tangible next steps you're going to take in order to implement what we've talked on.
Yes. Okay. So first thing is, I think I'm going to go follow up with all my DMs. That's been on my list to do this week, and I'm glad I didn't already do it. So that I'm going to do first, just to get that wheel moving. And then I'm going to go back to my course and look at the different topics, the different modules, and rename them. And then I'm going to, I just had something on my mind. What was it? Oh, the sales page. And go through that. And I do post on social media pretty much every day. So the sooner I can get those modules renamed, even if it's just, one this week, at least then I can share this new concept, so.
Good.
Yeah.
And then the content framework. So once things are renamed, right, following that contrarian content framework, where it's like, okay, the solution is the save a semester domino effect. So what's the mistake they're making? What do they think the solution is? What's the gap? And so you'll just have a lot of fresh content designed to push people toward that shared belief, right? Yeah. And I want to encourage you also to take a contrarian approach around pricing, right? A
Okay.
$10 PDF is not going to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really good because there's just so much of it out there. And I
Mhm.
know on like Instagram, there's all these like 10-pager little bits of advice that they're getting, which add up to a lot when you put it together from me and this other person and this other person. But putting that all together, having a save file on Instagram, this is just, it's all a mess. You're
Yeah.
not going to get very far. You're going to get little tidbits. Yeah, you need, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So,
Yeah.
this one thing that saves you $50, that's lovely, but that's not really going to move your needle.
Yep.
And that's what I've been telling them from day one anyways. But like, again, the way that we've been talking helps really, I think it's going to help me drive it home more because the advice out there is don't eat out. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do they think we're having steak dinners every night? I mean, when we're talking $300,000, it doesn't matter if I have pizza every night, So,
Yep.
and so I've used that, but I don't think I've used it well.
Mhm.
And I think also maybe applying it even more directly with these are great handouts, but how far is this going to get you?
Yeah.
We're talking $300,000, people. So,
Yes. Yeah, and just really taking a strong stance on that. Like you are making yourself crazy and more stuck. Stop downloading $10 PDFs,
yes,
right?
I love that.
Stop trying to piece a plan together with the free content you find online. It's not helpful.
I love it. I'm
I love it
excited.
too. Good. Okay. Okay, so we have your action steps. What's your biggest takeaway from our conversation today before we wrap up?
I think it's just that this is all doable. It's just sometimes you need a little help. That I think that's my biggest takeaway. And I mean, that may not be a direct on point as far as something we talked about, but it's just my overall feeling. I feel so much more relieved. Like every once in a while I start to get to the point of what am I even doing anymore? Like, I'm just not fully reaching through.
Yeah.
And just being reminded it is all doable. It's a matter of fine tuning and just finding that perfect little way to say it. You can
Mhm.
be all 90% of the way there, but they need to hear that last thing or just a slightly different word. And on the one hand, that's discouraging, but on the other hand, it's encouraging because I'm heading there and I'm halfway there. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so it's just reassuring. So that's my biggest takeaway is just it's okay.
Yeah, I really hear you. I think my takeaway is similar. It's just that specificity is the thing that brings opportunity. So if you're not seeing the results that you want, look at your message and look at where you can dial in with more specificity so that people feel seen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
great.
perfect. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Dallas.
You're welcome. I'm excited to see your content. I really want to see
Yes.
the sales page once you're done. So make sure you
Okay.
share it.
I will. Oh my
Great.
gosh. Yes, definitely for sure. Thank you
Great. Well,
so, so much.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming on the show. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next Sunday.